April 9. My attempt to promote yesterday's post was thwarted by TikTok, deeming my content about features of ancient heroic societies and how, applied to what happens today, they might help us find a common ground in an explorer mindset, a political ad. I'm baffled. But hey, let's turn to ants. Imagine you're standing under the hot sun in the New Mexico desert. In the distance rise red mountain chains into a blue sky. The ground underneath your feet is cracked because it hasn't rained for a long time. And there they are, in this hostile environment. Ants foraging for food. And while yes, an ant that found a food source will leave a pheromone trail on its way back to the colony, a trail that will be reinforced during every trek necessary to carry the loot back to the lair, it is not the case that an ant coming up in a pheromone trail is somehow forced to follow it. On the contrary, as Melanie Moses figured out during her PhD work, in more cases than not, an ant will refuse what really is an invitation to get employed by the original finder and will continue to forage, explore for new knowledge. What looks at first glance like the opposite of a functional collective is in reality what establishes the genius of an ant society, the natural explorer mindset of every individual ant that is driven by nature first and foremost to contribute its own personal discovery. This makes sure that there's a never-ending string of discoveries that literally feeds the colony and allows growth, the best outcome for all. And that where most of the ants, most of the time, will wander off and won't find anything. If they were fending for themselves, they wouldn't survive. It's a risk they can take only because they are part of a group in which at least one member at every time will hit the jackpot. And it will happen because random search is the ideal way to find things that aren't yet known. The prerequisite for a cooperation based on everyone's ability to explore and fail to work is sharing. And what the ants teach us was true for the human economy for millennia. People gave what they could to their community, a word that for a very long time could describe a network spanning up to a whole continent, not just small groups as they want to make us believe, because they knew they'd have needs soon. That gave everyone in the group, in the network, permission to explore themselves and the world and feel thereby more often than not. But overall, the exploration, the constant search for new knowledge by all was extremely beneficial for all. Far more so than when the majority had explored knowledge while giving just a few the ability to go on a search party. This is what economists mean when they talk about original credit economies. Credit here didn't mean a sum of money. It described trust in a relationship that included the permission to explore and fail. Putting a value to something or someone happened only once the trust disappeared, as a crime had happened, a murder, an accident, something. In Mesopotamia, the system mostly still worked, as I showed over the last day, but it suffered some little tweaks in form of standardization, what puts more emphasis on exploitation than on exploration. And then there was the counterreaction in the shape of what's called heroic societies, which push the dial of the explorer-exploit payoff even farther to explore. Follow me to explore, and this is the word of the day, with me how these little tweaks put us on a path that forces the majority of us to follow and reinforce the pheromone trails left by a selected few more often than not long ago, and what the impact of it is on the value and result of our cooperation and our personal mental health. My guiding star will continue to be the mind and what science tells us about the way it developed and works as a holobiont, of which one part is a multicellular organism. Nature made us not to be a solution to a problem. It made us to be problem-solving machines. We are made to think. Make a habit out of thinking again. Let's turn thinking into a movement to get unstuck together. Like, comment, share, and follow, of course. Definitely not for political ads, but to improve yourself and society. For now, thank you for gifting me with a few minutes of your most precious, your lifetime. I'm very grateful.